welcome to Talk Sit About. Tonight's special guest is my friend Rachel. Rachel, what are we going to be talking about tonight?
My favourite film.
Your favourite film?
Yes.
Because Debbie does Dallas. There's no secret here. It is very apt that we're talking about this particular film on this particular day, because what day is today?
It is Saturday.
Yeah, it is Saturday, Rachel. But is there a special significance to Saturday? Never worked with children, animals, or people from Poland.
It is David Bowie's birthday.
David Bowie's birthday?
Yes.
Hello, young man.
Hello.
As if we planned it.
Hello.
Oh, how did this happen? Come in. Can you do a dance magic dance for us?
Oh, such a cute little baby. What is this you have?
Yeah, show us this.
Wow, thank you.
Amazing. Well, thank you, Tiny Rod Stewart. That'll be enough. Right.
Right,
No, you go off and play Fortnite now. Thank you for your starring role.
Yes, and
You-
now
I fell over.
you can don the wig.
I'll don the wig.
Yeah, I fell over.
There you go.
It's
Right.
wonky.
Good night. Thank you,
Bye. Night,
David Bowie Jr.
It's very wonky.
It's very wonky. Is that better?
You'll-
Cousinette. How's this?
I mean, you know.
I mean,
We're not gonna be able to
it's
take
still
you-
my
We're
face.
not going to be able to take you seriously anyway. You wear
Nobody
it,
can take me seriously, even without the wig. So yeah, of course I do. Wow, well you can do the impressive stuff with it,
Not
because
really.
Rachel wants me to make it very clear that she is a Labyrinth super fan and an expert on all things Labyrinth. Yes,
no,
what you said
that's
to me.
not what I said.
That is what you said.
The fan
You're like,
clubs
tell the
will not
fan
be
clubs.
happy. No,
Tell the
I
fan
didn't.
clubs.
No, this is not my mastermind subject.
Rachel has thrown down the gauntlet. If you think you know more about Labyrinth than Rachel,
You probably do.
You're in trouble, because she's the fucking grandmaster.
No, she's not.
Yeah. So
But it is my favourite film. It
It's
has
your
been
favourite
with
film?
me my entire life.
really,
Well, maybe around about the age of 6 or 7.
what was it that was so special about it? Why has it got such an enduring appeal?
Many people would probably say many things.
What would you say, Rachel?
I like the music. I like it's complete fantasy.
Mhm.
And it's a little bit scary, you know, like as a kid you want the kind of like the little bit of the scary, but just a little bit, and then
Of
there's
course.
a fair maiden and it's all good in the end. Spoiler alert.
Oh, sorry, spoilers. If you haven't seen this fucking 35-year-old film,
It's not that long, is it? Or it might be.
96, 96, 2006, 16. It is, it's 35.
No.
It is. You're incredibly old, Rachel.
Well, I
Sorry
didn't
to
see
tell
it when
you.
I was born, so I'm not that old, but
Yeah, you're still old. You're 35 years plus. What age? How old are you again? 39. That's
Yeah.
nothing. You're a
Yeah.
baby. So do the thing.
I- I started trying to teach myself and didn't get very far, but I'll pick it back up this year.
Whoa!
It's also very heavy, I don't want to break anything.
Yeah,
Like a
yeah.
laptop or camera equipment.
Yeah, on my beautiful hardwood floor.
Or your face.
On my face, yes. Is that right? I believe it is.
We'll wait and see how this goes.
Sorry, I told our little young star, as long as it doesn't interrupt any more of the film, and he can have a cameo. What is it, pal? It's not working. We'll play something else.
Bah.
I wish the Goblin King would come and take me away.
Coming.
No, buddy.
tempt
That's
me.
different. You're not allowed to say that. Just play a different thing or read.
Okay.
Buddy, I told you we couldn't stop this. Right, goodbye, you diva. Bye-bye. So, yes, that's very impressive, but did you know, in my research for this film, I discovered that David Bowie, while it looks on camera like he does all that stuff, it's actually a guy with his hands through David Bowie's like arms.
No.
Doing it. It
Don't
is.
spoil it for me.
The magic is ruined. Yeah? Oh, sorry, just 2 seconds. Do you know what I love about Iron Brew, Rachel?
What do you love about it?
Absolutely fucking everything. It's delicious. I mean, if you're Scottish, it's a patriotic drink. If you're not from Scotland, it's like a little fizzy bit of Scotland in a can. And it's just, it hits the spot. If you're talking on camera, oh, I need it. I need it.
I'm sensing some sponsorship happening here.
I don't have any, but I'm touting for it. Iron Brew. Literally the best fucking drink in the world. Do you think that went okay?
I think they'd be completely daft not to get in touch.
Yeah. We've never had Pat Sharp promoting Iron Brew before. Let's go for
Hey,
it.
you'd be better with Rod Stewart as Scottish.
He's not Scottish though.
Isn't he?
He's a pretender. There's another lie.
Like Gordon
English.
Ramsay. Or is he the other way around?
I don't know. I think he's English as well. All these people.
Anyway,
Desperate
we're not
to be
talking about
Scottish.
people who look like goblins. We're talking about
No, indeed we're not. Indeed we're not.
maybe I just got us in trouble.
Yes, let's not do any more of that. So, Labyrinth, which is what we're here
It is, yes.
to talk about.
Regretted making that suggestion
Yep.
the moment I did it. But
I thought you
let's
would.
do this.
Let's do this.
Yeah.
So, it's weird when I rewatched it. I remembered it being quite scary.
Yeah.
But when you're a parent yourself and you watch all the new kids films that come into the cinema and things like that, okay, you get peril, you get excitement and adrenaline, but
Baddies.
they don't make films quite like that anymore. I mean, it begins
No.
with a child abduction.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
they wouldn't make that today.
No.
No, I'm not. That's not a criticism. I love it. I think it's great. I
Yeah.
don't think they take enough risks. They mollycoddle kids a little bit these days, but it's strange. There's something very fairy tale about Labyrinth. You can see the Wizard of Oz in there.
Yeah.
She goes to the strange place with the
She's
with
got
her little
her
dog.
friends, yes.
With the friends,
And
that's
she's
it.
got her friends that get her through it, yeah.
Yeah, and Hoggle's kind of like, would you say he doesn't have a heart, or maybe that he's got too many faces?
Oh. Yes. Very fickle, I think.
Yes.
You know, if we talk about the things that he is bribed by throughout the film.
Mm.
Then, yeah. And then Ludo,
No brain.
no brain.
He's like the
Oh, big
scarecrow.
heart though. Oh, he
Big
could be
heart,
the,
yeah.
No, he could be the he could be the.
No, he had courage.
Oh no, that's
Oh.
right. Yeah, he did. He calls the stones.
And the wee crazy guy.
Oh,
what's his
Sir
name?
Didymus.
Sir Didymus.
Yeah.
Sounds
And
like
his
a sex
doggy,
act.
Lancelot.
Yes, Lancelot,
Yeah.
who is like a puppet as well.
Yeah.
Once he gets into
Who is the dog that is her dog at the start of the film.
That's right, but then becomes puppeted. It's not a real dog, like
Is-
into the
isn't
film.
it? I
No,
think-
it's like
I'm sure it's a
it's
real
Jim
dog.
Henson. No,
Is it?
no, it's not.
I know, you might be right there.
I don't think you
maybe-
love this film,
I know,
Tom Rachel.
maybe didn't pay that much attention. I was too busy singing the songs.
Indeed, and many good songs in it.
Yeah.
So yeah, when you look at Labyrinth, it's quite dark, although it's
Mhm.
got like a nice messages and uplifting kind of thing.
Yeah.
Part of me goes, they made darker things in the 80s.
Oh, they
But-
definitely did.
But if it's based on fairy tales, if you read like the original fairy tales, they're horrific.
Yeah.
Like it's not a modern phenomenon like before the 80s. Everything was like I was reading The Little Matchstick Girl to Jack not so long ago.
Don't know that one.
It's Hans Christian Andersen
Oh,
wrote
maybe
it.
I do know
And
that one.
spoiler alert: a little girl freezing. She's like, "Well, I just need a match to make a fire," and she dies.
Shame.
And I didn't know this. I was reading. I was like, and then the little girl
Died.
died. Good night.
Night night.
Yeah.
Sweet dreams.
Right, like and even things like what's the one with the breadcrumbs and the
Hansel
the
and Gretel.
Hansel and Gretel.
Oh yeah, there's some pretty, grim
Grim.
stories.
That's good. No, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well done.
Charming.
Charming.
Wit. Timing is everything.
Timing is everything. That's it. No, you're
Yeah.
doing well. You're doing good.
Thanks.
Do you want to wear the wig for
Not
a while?
really, no.
No, that's okay.
I
This
think
is
you're
the same
pulling
amount
it-
of grey in
you're
your.
You are pulling it off.
That she's not referring to what you can't see below the camera, by the way. She means I'm carrying off the wig well.
Yes, that's what
but-
I meant.
So, the source material, the fairy tales,
Yeah.
were really dark. We forget that. Sometimes Disney kind of sanitizes them. But it's
Mhm.
weird, like, you would think when the fairy tales were originally written, it's a horrible time. Like, people that wrote children's fairy tales would go, do you know what? The kids are having a terrible time. There's high infant mortality.
Yeah.
People are dying of disease. There's war.
Yeah, let's
I
give
could
them
do something
something
to cheer
else to
them up.
worry about.
More death!
Totally.
And in the 80s as well, things are quite grim, but it's now when it's as good as it's ever been, we're kind of like, oh no, the kids can't handle that.
Wait, it's as good as it's ever been.
Well, historically,
Well, yeah,
like
I
it's
suppose.
better than the 16th century and
Well,
probably
no,
better than the
plague.
19th. Yeah, it's a little bit better than the plague, although
little
I do
bit.
live in Grangewife, sometimes I wonder.
Yeah.
So it's weird that, yeah, what I'm trying to say is we should have more dark shit for kids. I think they can handle it more.
There's lessons to be learned.
Mm.
You know, if you think about, like you said right at the start, it's not just a child abduction. Our heroine of the piece, like, asks for her brother to be taken away. Like, she, in that moment, she's the baddie. You're like, what the heck? You know?
I actually wrote notes.
No, you did not.
Spoiled wee bitch. And I noted that the baby was crying for real.
Yeah, they poked him.
Fucking, here's your big
Slap that
money.
baby! It's literally lyrics from the song. Slap that baby.
So it is. I thought you meant you let
No.
me see that. I just
Yeah,
said,
yeah.
oh, Christ.
It's like telling you what they, you know, subliminal messaging.
Yeah. No wonder I got beaten so often. I didn't. Just psychological cruelty. So yeah.
Well, we'll get onto the psychological side of this film, won't we?
Good segue. Good link. Good link. So yeah, it's not just about the lesson. Sorry, I came in
Yes,
there with it.
yes. No, but and you know, not to get all the way through the film, but she learns some good lessons by the end. It's a rite of passage film, isn't it? Really.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's help yourself to some delicious
Iron brew.
iron brew, by the way. Did I mention it was the best drink in the world? What's the theme then? What's the? It is about a rite of passage, but
Yeah, I think it's about a rite of passage, and it's about growing up. It's about, to some extent, not growing up too quickly, too soon. There's a lot of things that she faces because she is spoiled. She wants to be grown up, and she wants to be treated like an adult, and she's there babysitting her brother while her dad and stepmom go out on the town or wherever they're off to. You see her bedroom, and she's got all of this like imaginative make-believe stuff, but she wants to be taken more seriously.
she's got a foot
Yeah,
in both
she's
worlds.
kind of, so it is, it's that sort of between childhood and becoming like a young adult.
That's why it's the rite of passage, you're right.
Yeah, and I
And if
think
you look in the bedroom, you can see all of the things that are manifest in
Yeah.
the labyrinth world. They're already there, all the sort of toys.
because
and
fundamentally it's her fairy tale, it's her imagination, it's all from her brain, it's not given to her, it's a manifestation of what she's.
Do you think that, I mean, there's a little bit at the end that kind of goes, no, it was real, but do you think it's all just a manifestation of her psyche? Do you think
Yeah.
that's what it is, really? That's the underlying.
I think so, but like you say, there is that wee bit at the end where, I'm not giving any spoilers away or anything, she's being watched through the window.
Sorry, Jack. Fair play, son. Come on.
Got a little goblin.
Yeah, he's trying to go honest. Right, no. Buddy. Off, right. Sorry. Your
You
flow
remind me
was.
of the babe. Sorry. Yes, that it's all. I think it's just that sort of closure for the film, isn't it? That it's that, well, we've come through this journey together. Her and her friends and you, the audience, and then there is just that little bit of, or was it?
Yeah,
You
I
know.
suppose that's a neat little thing for the
Yeah.
kids at the
Just
end.
leaves it open for a sequel, doesn't it?
Did they ever talk of making one?
There is talk.
I thought you were going to say that there's one.
No, I'm not. I know, but there is talk
They
of
should.
I don't know if it's a sequel or it's not a remake, but there is talk.
I don't think it would work.
I don't think it
just
would
leave
work
these
either, but
things,
if you visit the fan pages, there's all these amazing suggestions of who could be the Goblin King or Queen.
Oh, it would be a queen. That's the way things are going. It would be, it would be a goblin queen this
Yeah.
time. So, yeah, all of the above. I would say she is, although spoiled and sort of not spoiled, that age that teenagers get to where they are stuck between the two.
Yeah.
But I mean, she's obviously got a lot of feelings about her parents' separation, although it's never
Yes.
said. That's heavily implied.
Yeah, and there's some
That's-
little Easter eggs in the sort of, before you get to the.
Well, let's talk about that later,
Okay.
because that ties in with some of the more outlandish and downright unsettling fan
Yes.
theories that I've
Yeah.
come across. But I thought the scene with the junkyard lady
Yeah.
was very telling, and there was a little nod to Sleeping Beauty there with the peach that she ate that kind
Yeah.
of made her memory go. That was
Uh-huh.
nice. I like how that was all worked in. But the junkyard lady was there, I think, to because the junkyard lady. She's trying to get to the Goblin Castle through the labyrinth. She's almost there. Jareth does some trickery-wickery and sets her
continually
back.
putting obstacles in her way to slow her down, it seems.
That cad. Yes, he is. So the junkyard lady is there. She's in, and Sarah can't properly remember what she's supposed to be doing.
At that point.
She's cloudy. Takes her back to a replica of her own bedroom, and I think that's neat. It's kind of like she's learning responsibility and becoming an adult, and there's a little bit of like the comforts of childhood are going, no, but come back to this, come back to this.
It's like it's trying to remind her when she's cloudy.
Exactly. But she makes the choice. She realizes it's a con, and she presses on.
Yeah.
And I thought it was nice when her friends came back at the end. So it's kind of like saying, no, you need to leave childish things behind. But at the end, it's sort of saying, but
not quite yet.
Not quite yet.
In your own time.
And I thought it was interesting that the book got her into the mess. Like, gave her the idea of the Goblin King and take my
words on a page in your imagination can be very, like, sometimes better than a film.
Yes.
To some extent, you know.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, I like the junkyard lady and some of those fan theories and things. You know, I don't know when you want to maybe. We're going to talk more about the junkyard
in a second, but
lady.
I think it's nice as well that I think as much as it's about rite of passage and it's about dealing with trauma and responsibility and blah blah blah, the power of imagination in books as well, because the book is the catalyst for what happens in the story, but it's the book that gives her the power to escape the junkyard lady and to defeat Jareth.
Yes, because she remembers the words.
It's like the imagination is the bridge between the two worlds, the child and the adult. That's the thing that I saw, which I thought was really. There's so much. It's just on the surface, it's a silly. It's a sort of fantasy kids film with lots of dancing, and David Bowie's got a ridiculously tight cod piece, but there's a lot there, and even the more. It's what?
It's so good.
The movie or the cod piece?
Just David Bowie in that film.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. So one of my friends when I was at school, she. I don't know how PC to be. She used to call me a gay man because I used to find David Bowie really attractive.
She call you a gay man because
she was such a gay man because.
It's quite androgynous, isn't it?
Yeah, androgynous, effeminate, but there's just that confidence there that's sort of, you know, it's like. And then when you get older, you realise just how narcissistic the character is, and you're like, maybe we shouldn't.
Because you've never plumped for a narcissist as a partner.
Not on purpose.
That's a different video. What I found very interesting on my research, this is not, you were worried there, this is not about your personal life, this is about the movie. Do you know who else was considered for the role of Jareth?
No. Yes. But I can't remember off the top of my head. The minute you say it.
There was two other people I saw mentioned, and they were both pop stars. Which again is very clever. It makes you think that they were
thinking about music.
They were thinking about the music, and maybe it'd be cheaper for them to bring someone in. Well, you can do the songs. It'll be great exposure for you.
I'm trying to think who you
a bit of synergy. One
Jason
of the most famous.
Or?
Jason Donovan? No, he would be about 18 or something then.
I don't know.
Michael Jackson?
No way!
Yeah?
No.
Now that is a different movie.
Oh, that's so different movie.
Because at no point when Jareth, David Bowie, has Toby, at no point did I fear for his safety. You cast Michael Jackson in there.
No, I mean, yeah.
Toby's got problems. What best case scenario? Michael Jackson goes out to the sort of balcony of the Goblin Castle and shakes the baby over.
You see the bit that David Bowie chucks him in the air.
Imagine what Michael Jackson would do there. Worst case scenario, you get to find out just why he's called the Goblin King. Oh dear.
When did you write that line?
I was thinking about it. That was off the cuff completely.
Yeah, sure it was.
Completely unprepared.
Sure
just came to me
yeah.
in a fit of inspiration. Yes, sorry.
So who else though?
I can't remember the other one.
That was
when I
the
saw
one
Michael Jackson, I was like, cha-ching, this is going to be a belter. Yeah.
Oh no, it would never have worked.
No, when he started singing Beat It, Christ, the child services would be on the set.
Oh, but I mean, you know, as far as parents and guardians go, Jareth wasn't cruel. He was kind of Kieran gave him a wee cuddle and tucked him in the
Threatened
air.
to turn him into a-
Let's not talk about all these other little goblin people that are kind of, swimming about his feet and how they got there. But
That's a good segue. So, okay, we can't resist it any longer. Let's talk about it. So, you know the plot of Labyrinth, if you've seen it. Wee girl makes a wish that her brother's taken away by the goblins, because she's annoyed that she has to babysit when she could be out, like, doing her own thing.
Yeah.
And the film is basically her quest to go through the labyrinth. She meets all these crazy characters that some of them betray her, but ultimately they all form a tight unit, and it's their unity and her imagination and her burgeoning womanhood that saves the day. But that's on the surface of it. There is a lot of subtext there. We've talked about it being imagination, rites of passage, but some people that are fans of Labyrinth have taken it 1 to 6,000 steps further. Let's talk about the less sexual abusey elements of the fan theories.
Well, let's try and keep it a little bit innocent.
No, that's not going to happen.
Okay.
You've seen this, right?
Right. Which one do you want to go in with?
Well, you were going in with the goblins.
Goblins. Yeah, so one of the theories is that the goblins are past children that have been abducted, that didn't get rescued, or maybe the young girl just went, yes, he's gone!
That's very possible.
No more arguing over the remote in my house.
When did you write that line, Rachel?
Actually,
That was off the cuff?
Yeah.
I like this story.
But yeah, and I can see that they're all sort of yay high, kind of, baby. Obviously your children were beautiful when they were born, but some babies are really ugly. So there's this like.
Has he got his earphones on? I think he's a very handsome lad, but
he's gorgeous.
He's gorgeous. When he was a baby, Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
but some babies look like little wrinkly old people,
Yes.
and these little goblins are like kind of little wrinkly old people,
Exactly.
And they're kind of, they're not really legible. They're kind of, Googling, like all this all the way through. And so there is this sort of sense of this adult human goblin king surveying all.
You still think he's a responsible
Hey, they
surrogate parent?
all look quite, well fed and stuff. Could do with a wash, but
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
no.
So that is one theory, and that
One
ties in.
theory.
There's another theory, you hinted at it earlier, about the junkyard lady.
Yeah, so she is one of the Sarahs, one of the many Sarahs. Now, I quite like this theory, that there have been... Now, well, do we go down... There's a really interesting theory about Jareth and Sarah. Jareth falls in love with Sarah. And do you know this one? Time in the Goblin kingdom moves a lot slower. You see the clock, it's 13 hours, so it's in the time that he takes to create this amazing fantasy land for this Sarah that he's in love with. The real world has moved on, years and years and years, and the Sarah that he was fixated upon and fallen in love with is now dead and gone. And so he spends his entire rest of his life looking for Sarah. So, and stealing babies to find his Sarah. There's always a Sarah, and that's one of the reasons why Hoggle says, "Oh, it's you," when she comes in at the start, because
As if he's already...
there's already been a Sarah.
Yes,
Many of them.
I did. I read that fan theory and I thought that fits,
I
but you
quite
could
like
also
it.
say because the Goblin King, Hoggle was his inside man.
Yeah.
So he would have shown her, said, "Oh, this is who
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
looking for."
yeah.
So,
There could be that, this is all prepped, you'd be in place, ready for her to come. Yeah,
But, yeah.
totally. But I like the...
no, I like it as well. And a lot of these fan theories, and we're not finished yet, while I don't agree with all of them, it's like they say in high school when you're doing like the English exam, as long as you can back up the claims with the text,
Totally.
and you can. A lot of the thing I don't think that's true, but shit, everything
A lot of it
fits.
pieces together, yeah, totally.
And it shows what a rich film it is that people are able to do that. And it's not, a lot of movies people go, what if it's about this? And everyone goes, what are you smoking, man? That's crazy. But
yeah,
it's there. It's there to...
Totally, and the junk lady is one of the many Sarahs who didn't get out, didn't find the baby, before the clock reaches the end of its psycho. So she's now forever in that cloudy way, you know, to roam the Goblin Kingdom with all of her childhood possessions on her back. It's really sad.
It's desperately sad, isn't it?
Yeah, and actually you see them moving about in the background. It's really,
there's more than one.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I
it's
never
really
thought
subtle, but if you watch some of the scenes, you can see the piles kind of moving. Like not
so she's not alone.
She's not the only junk lady. There are many of them. So
That's pretty cool.
So I like that theory because it kind of there are different. You know, whoever thought that one up did some really good thinking it through and you know, rewriting.
Now the other one is, before we get into the big sex abuse one, there's a lesser one that draws on the same evidence that says if you look at Sarah's vanity mirror in the opening scenes, there's a picture of what must be her mother and David Bowie himself. Now either David Bowie existed in that fictional universe and she was a fan of his music and she imagined him into the role of the Goblin King, which is possible. But one fan theory says that her mum was an actress and left the dad for this, who isn't David Bowie, but
another actor.
Just another actor.
Yeah. And there's a headline on the newspaper, I think, as it pans through that sort of reinforces that there's something there. So you've got this sort of, you know, young girl who's aware of the trauma of her parents separating, mum leaving for this heartthrob kind of a person, and she's possibly idolising him a little bit as well. And you never meet the mum, you don't know what the circumstances are. The mum is not there, and that's quite
it's almost like she's
unusual.
taking her mum's place.
Yeah, you know, this is a story where the child has stayed with the dad, you know, so it's a I suppose for the time probably a bit of a strange setup, you know, although there is the evil stepmother, you know.
She's not that evil.
She's not. No.
She had
she's
monstrous shoulder pads though. I actually wrote that down. Shoulder pads with a big exclamation mark.
Yeah.
Jesus.
That made it to the notes page, did it? Shoulder pads. Yeah. Okay.
And the big hair.
Yeah. She was very sort of, you know,
very
to
80s.
do and sort of, you know, a bit Deirdre
Stern.
Barlow and stern and
But isn't that interesting that you're right, it's usually the evil stepmother that becomes the manifestation of, but she kind of got a pass and it was the man. So if that theory holds weight, then there's a bit of budget, that there's blossoming sexuality and coming to terms with those feelings in the mix as well.
And there's also possibly the fact that, you know, maybe a bit of her is justifying her mum left because she had no choice to, because she fell in love with this very powerful, you know, heartthrob, and then you see David Bowie's Jareth in this very powerful, oozing kind of, you know, androgynous sex appeal, trying to win this girl, you know, and essentially make her love him. Like he says at one point, love me, fear me, do what I wish, and I will give you everything. So she kind of almost maybe feels that there's this element of, you know, you can't help what you love, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Her mum had no
She's
chance.
taken her place. She's taken her mum's place and sort of play acting and...
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
But do you know, I never read that. This has just occurred to me. It's interesting that if that's the case, and her mum broke up the family by leaving with the David Bowie character, then Jareth the Goblin King is trying to break up the family as well by taking the child. So that adds more texture and more support to that.
To
and
the
when
blame
she says,
kind of culture-y type thing.
correct. And when she says to him at the end, "You have no power over me,"
it's almost
it's
like
she's come to the realization, maybe
break
in
the
that
cycle.
scenario, break the cycle. I'm not like my mum. I'm not going to abandon my family or...
Yeah, so it's quite deep, really, you know, when you start getting into the, I suppose, the chaos and the trauma that young person's going through at that moment in time, that she's, you know, she's kind of gone into her fairy tale world, but very much what's happening in her life is totally, she can't escape it.
Yeah.
Even though you kind of hope that...
It's weird that we're talking about the subtlety and the subtext in a movie that also has giant big brown arseholes farting in a swamp.
That's true.
It's so rich, it's so...
I know. Yeah. And that was always such a scary bit as well. You're just you know, when you look at her footing on the rocks and you're like, oh my god, she's gonna fall in, and then there's one bit just like when it's so precarious and you're just about to go in, and then she kind of has this little laughy jokey conversation with Hoggle like, as they're like this along the side, and you're like, concentrate, women, what are you doing? Do you know what I mean? You're gonna stink forever if you fall in there. You know.
She just didn't appreciate the peril she was in.
Totally.
Right, just bear with me a second.
Oh god, what? Alright.
Rachel, do you know what I love about Skittles?
What do you love about Skittles?
Absolutely fucking everything.
Tasting.
I love how difficult it is to open the packet because that just makes the taste all the sweeter.
So look at the size of the packet. These were for goblins, not for you.
I love the wonderful sound effect they make when you spill them all over the floor.
Yeah.
They're so tiny, Rachel, but within that tiny form is a giant burst of flavour. Oh, the mouth watering. Oh my god, it's like they're all having sex in my mouth. Oh, Jesus Christ. Fucking love Skittles. Okay, sorry about that. So, what is the scariest bit of Labyrinth? We'll finish with a big sex abuse finale. But until then, what's your the scariest bit?
The bit that used to scare me the most, and like so, I didn't always love Labyrinth. I used to find it really scary. The bit when the goblins are all like hiding in the bedroom, like just before they take the baby. For me, it's like they come out the door and there's that bit where the cover in the cot actually moves and you don't see what's under it. It's that whole monsters under the bed kind of thing. You know, as a little person.
And I guess that's why they made the goblins quite cutesy and over the top when they did appear, to dull a little of that.
Maybe.
Because they're little comedy characters.
Yeah.
But you're right, that scene is, you see things rushing in the shadows and off camera. Yeah, it's quite unsettling.
Yeah. But there are probably actually, you know, more scary bits, but that's the bit that I remember from being a kid.
That freaked me out.
What?
The guys that cut their heads off.
Fireys! Oh, I love the fireys. I used to, they are kind of grotesque and a little bit creepy, and it feels uncomfortable to actually like love that song, want to watch the number, but be a bit like, can it creep me out a bit? Hey, her head don't come off. And she's like, of course it doesn't. Like, come on.
Right, that's quite grotesque, but cool. Like as a kid though, I was going, no, go for it.
No.
Here's your forum.
No.
No?
No. Not unless you join me.
I think I'm doing enough.
Yeah,
wearing the patch sharp wig. What would be the best musical number? Obviously Dance Magic Dance.
Yeah. No. So every song, I love every song. As the world falls down, the ball scene. We've not even talked about the ball scene where the goblins are humans. This is them in their human form.
So that adds credence to the theory that they were...
Maybe, but I think for that one moment, I think those goblins are allowed to party. And they're partying hard, if you watch in the background. That's, you know...
Or maybe if he's like a devil, that's part of his enchantment, his sort of illusion.
Yeah.
Sort of to make it more palatable.
But that scene, just going back to the whole, you know, smouldering Bowie thing, you know, he's just cruising through that party. He's, you know, the confidence, everybody knows who he is. They're up and saying, you know, hi there, nice party, great spread, you know. And he just has eyes for her. He's watching her like wander through the party in this amazing ball gown. Every little girl wants that dress, you know. And some of the fans get married in that dress. Like there have been Labyrinth themed weddings.
Isn't it weird though? Like you're saying, it's got so, and you're even parroting this now as a 39-year-old woman, whereas Bowie was like what 40 and she's
like 15,
14.
Yeah.
Do you know what? It's weird. Like
it is. And they were great pals apparently.
Well, I hope that's all. There were a lot of talk about. It's weird. I think there was talk of Bowie. It is Bowie, isn't it?
I fluctuate.
No, because he called his son Zoe.
Zoe Bowie.
So it rhymed. So it's Bowie.
Yeah, Bowie.
There was talk of like behaviour in the 70s and 80s, and that he probably would have, if he'd lived a bit longer, he might have found himself Me Too'd. But I think Bowie seemed to transcend humanity. It's kind of like if we walked down the street and slit someone's throat, they go, "That's Bowie for you, guy's a genius." Do you know what I mean? I don't think fit.
Artistic license.
And I don't think he ever made a secret of his sort of wild proclivities.
No. I haven't looked into too many of those rumours.
Oh, the guy was a mad shagger, whatever the truth of any more.
Yeah, it's very possible. But don't ruin it for me.
Sorry. So the ballroom scene.
Yeah.
The ballroom scene
it's beautiful.
would lend weight to the sexual abuse theory. It's similar to the mother having left the father for the actor, the picture of David Bowie, but this theory casts David Bowie not as the person that went off with her mum, but as maybe someone that did go off with the mum, but it's implied that he in real life sexually abused her.
You do kind of get that kind of uncomfortable grooming feeling of, you know, like this young beautiful thing who is being prowled, pursued, you know, and he's relentless through the movie, do you know what I mean? So like even down to the last scene in the hall of stairs, you know,
Which is pretty cool.
It's pretty cool, and is obviously, you know, Harry Potter took some great inspiration from that, I think.
You think so?
The moving stairs? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Got to.
Right. Sorry.
There's got to have been. But yeah, so even up until that point, you know, he's still trying to manipulate her and sort of get her to love him and fear him and sort of, you know, submit to his
Codpiece.
yeah, and the eyebrows. Oh my god, let's not even talk about the contouring.
Really?
No, I mean, that doesn't really do anything for me. It's just the overall kind of, you know. Anyway, we're getting off the subject again. But yeah, so...
You want to get you a fan, Christ?
Don't say that you were turning the heating off when I came in. I think you've done it on purpose. Yeah, you know, some of the fans, and there is that element of, you know, there's a real split in some of the fan, like, chat about, you know, that way that if you see, you know, sexual abuse and sort of grooming and stuff as part of this story, then you best be going and having a look at yourself, love, do you know what I mean? Because I think when you do give it, the theory that I like is that this has all come from her imagination. He's not a real character. He is not.
He's a representation of her struggle between the two worlds and the
which isn't
trauma.
Fundamentally about, you know, child abuse.
But I can, again, refer, if you can support it in the text, I think you could make that argument, and again it makes it more when she says you have no power over me and that kind of thing, but it's a stretch, and I find it, I mean, as dark as it was still a Jim Henson movie, and Jim Henson did the voice of Hobble.
Yeah.
He also did the voice of Kermit the Frog. I find it, the people that did Sesame Street and the Muppets wouldn't go, I know what we'll do next, a harrowing movie about child sexual abuse.
Yeah.
Like, you can't imagine. Now, this is just
this is not Rainbow.
Correct.
You know.
We'll do another video on that later. Now, this is completely off the cuff. I haven't been thinking about this either. But you couldn't imagine, like...
Okay, let me just prepare for the punchline.
No. You couldn't imagine Kermit saying something like, "Hey, Fozzie, show us on the doll where he touched you." "Oh, Kermit, he whacked me off."
You did not just go there.
I went there. That's why I can't talk. Oh Christ, the things that happened to him.
Oh no.
Jesus. That's that Professor Honeydew. He's worth the watch. He's been on a watch list. He's the wee guy, the kind of Beaker, you know?
Beaker, yeah.
And then Professor Honeydew is the one that is really cruel to him and talks for him. The wee, like, professor with a... You're no Muppet fan.
I'm no Muppet fan.
Get
I mean, I like, you know, the films. Muppets Christmas Carol. There's another. I'm coming back.
You're coming back!
In 11 months' time.
I loved, apparently, when I was a toddler, the Muppet Show, like, not the movies, like the actual was the only thing that shut me up.
Yeah, for me it was Status Quo, but again, there's another
That's
odd conversation.
Well, how is his eyebrows? Has he got good contoured eyebrows, has he?
Can't remember.
Does he wear a codpiece?
No idea.
Oh, he wears an earpiece now.
I had a weird mullety kind of, you know, like...
Yeah, the wee ponytail and the denim.
Maybe I need to go and have a look at myself, eh?
He dressed like a sort of painter and decorator, and I thought, Francis Rossi, if you like that, if you like that kind of thing.
Wow, this is
So no
a
sex
bit
abuse.
of a tenuous link.
That was a bit of a tenuous thing.
No, I refuse. I'm going to keep it as a, it's a nice coming of age story
Mhm.
that.
Oh, yeah, but
And not an age of coming story.
No.
Sorry.
No.
Oh Christ. Rachel, do you know what I really love about heroin?
Wait, what? I was going to say
Fucking
there are no
ever-
more props on the floor. What do you mean?
Oh, that's it. Well, so closing words on Labyrinth then. The importance it held for you, the importance it still does. Have you let your daughter watch
Yes,
it?
she has watched it, and I introduced her to it quite early. So maybe she was about 2.5 or 3 when I first popped it on. And,
Same with
you
them,
know,
they can't remember.
I was thinking, is this wrong? Is this a wee bit too scary? But then I was kind of thinking I was maybe like 6 or 7 and I found it scary. So let's start early, and then that way it will be ingrained
Won't
in
be
her psyche.
scared.
She won't be, yeah. And she liked it, you know, bounced about to the songs and stuff. And now she won't watch it with me.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't think she likes it much, but she will sing.
Because
in the
she's
car.
scared, or she thinks it's really sad because you like it, because you're a mum.
I don't know. I think she's just far too happy watching, you know, YouTube influencers. She's not been watching your stuff yet.
That's probably for the best.
No.
Oh, we can do another video on how much you want to strangle all these hyperactive American guys that just play computer games all the time.
Yeah, see, well, you have boys, I have a girl, so for me it's all about Rebecca Zamolo. Actually,
Who?
like, Rebecca Zamolo. Yeah, man. There's somebody you want to reach out to and see if you can do a wee...
Bit of synergy.
Yeah, man. She's almost got the same hair.
Has she? Does she wear it as good as me though?
No.
Her eyebrows contoured.
She's annoying.
Has she ever tried Iron Brew? Or Skittles? Or heroin?
Do you know what?
Is she a heroin
I
heroin
would
addict?
say that given her, you know, preppy Americanness, that she possibly like lives on Skittles, but who knows? Hey?
I'm going to check her out. Maybe we can do some beautiful work together, Rebecca. Whatever her name is. What did you say?
Zamolo.
Zamolo.
Zamfam, that's her.
Zamfam.
Yeah, see, this is you need a brand breakaway. So Zamolo, Zamfam. She's an American Italian kind of, you know, like, so you need a jam fam.
Jam Fam. Hey, that works! Hey! Yeah, Jam Fam, that's fucking amazing.
What's it? She's probably got it like trademarked.
No, not Jam Fam.
Well, no, but you know, she might argue that.
Well, because it rhymes. What if I wanted to call my brand Sesco? Or Dasda?
I don't know, but I'm
Do that.
thinking that you could do some jam sponsor.
Actual jam. Do you know what I fucking love about Robertson's jam, Rachel? Damn, I wish I had.
Getting those bits.
Next time.
Pips in your teeth there.
So listen, I really enjoyed talking about that actually. Thank you for coming
You're
and
welcome.
guesting on the show.
Thank you for taking my wee to Labyrinth, Jamie.
And you did, I did. I really
I'll come
enjoyed
and
it.
talk to you, but only if you talk about what I want to talk about.
Typical woman. No, it was fun. I enjoyed rewatching it. I enjoyed going down the rabbit hole of all the crazy theories and not so crazy theories. And yeah, I enjoyed this, and I hope you've enjoyed watching it. Rachel will no doubt be back to now that
I
she's
have
thrown
so
the
many
gauntlet down.
ideas.
The super fans. She's going to be doing a sort of who knows Labyrinth the best kind of quiz.
She's
If
not.
you're out there, get in touch.
No, she's not.
All that remains to be said is, if you've enjoyed this video, you've got a remarkably good taste. Thank you for watching. Please continue to watch, subscribe, share, tell your wee pals, join the Jam
Join the
Fam,
Jam Fam. Hashtag Jam Fam.
hashtag Jam Fam, and thank you very much. Until next time, bye bye.